Përshëndetje të nderuar shikues, jemi në Tetov. Tanya Domi është një aktiviste e të drejtave të njeriut, një njohëse e mirë e çështjeve dhe problemeve ndërreknike në Ballkan që nga lufta e Kosovës që nga lufta e Bosnjës, për shkak se ajo ka qenë edhe përkthyese e OSBE-s në atë kohë në Bosnjë dhe Hercegovinë. Tanya do të flet me mua për shumë tema të rëndësishme, veçanërisht ndikimit rus në Ballkanin perëndimor, se si po funksionon tani bota pas një agresioni rus në Ukrainë dhe çka për Ballkanin. Çka do të jetë Ballkani më tutje? A do të bëhet kjo një vatër zjarri tjetër apo do të duhet që të rreshtohemi krah Europës dhe Amerikës për të qenë më të sigurt në vendet ku jetojmë? Dear Tanya, thank you for being here with me.
Thank you for having me.
How do you see the current situation in the Balkans? We have a Dodik, we have a non-balanced Bosnia, and we have a Macedonia with another government, which will be helped by Putin's friends Orban with 1 billion euros.
I think that this is a very tenuous time in the Balkans, very politically fragile, with opportunities that could in fact be a flashpoint for not only violence, but if not properly addressed, could yield to armed conflict. It is so dangerous right now. When we look at the past year, the attack on Banska, what happened in Kosovo, the NATO peacekeepers were attacked, people died. At that point, I was so worried during those hours after these events that it could have yielded to armed conflict. It is that tenuous right now. And you mentioned Dodik. Milorad Dodik has for years continued to call for the secession of the political entity, the Serb political entity, Republika Srpska, inside Bosnia. He's now being prosecuted by the highest court of the land for his undermining of the Dayton Peace Accords, but he has openly, flagrantly violated the Dayton Peace Accords. And I don't believe that his actions, his misconduct, have been properly addressed by the institutions in Bosnia.
Let's stop a little more in the Macedonia. How do you think that Macedonia is moving towards the EU with appropriate steps?
Well, it's my understanding, and I know that a government is now in discussion, and it is going to be most likely announced tomorrow. When I look at Macedonia, and what I'm hearing is it's yielding to a more nationalist, more pro-Russian government. We only need to look to Brussels for the recent EU parliamentary elections, a big surge by the right wing across Europe in their representation in that parliamentary assembly. That is of great concern because these impulses of nationalism yield to attacks on minorities, the exclusion of minorities. I understand that the president has removed the Albanian language from the government website, which I think is a terrible action at the beginning of her tenure as president. Macedonia includes Albanians. They are part of Macedonians' history, and they live and are citizens here in this country. They should not be marginalized by removing the language from the government website. It sends a terrible signal to all people in the country.
Mm-hmm. We have Vučić co-principal as first deputy prime minister, Putin's close friends, Ivan Stoiljković. What does this mean for you as a well-informed person of this circumstance and destabilizing policy of Russia?
Well, I would say to you that it is more than obvious, and the opinion polling bears it out, that Serbia is one of the most pro-Russian countries in Europe, with the exception of Belarus. When you look at the opinion survey research inside Serbia, Vladimir Putin and Russia are the two most popular They have the most popular support by the Serbian population. There are Russian think tanks in Serbia. The Russian government donates money to more than 100 NGOs in the state of Serbia. He shares close cooperation with Putin and his counterpart, less than counterparts, Milorad Dodik, who's only an entity president, but both of them travel frequently to Moscow, and they cooperate with Moscow. And so I don't think this bears good news for the Balkans. And one of the most, I think, obvious actions by Serbia is the instrumentalization of the Serbian Orthodox Church into Montenegro, which also led to not only discord, but also advanced a more pro-Russian government there as well. Speaking of which, Montenegro and Macedonia are notable for being NATO members. And I am concerned about this leaning to nationalism and more support to Russia. How can a NATO member in that Atlantic Security Alliance support Russia without jeopardizing the security of the alliance itself?
What America think about Macedonia today?
Well, to be honest with you, I don't. It's not an editorial about Macedonia itself, but I don't think Americans in general think about the Balkans. They just don't. It's far away. It's somewhere in Southern Europe, and sometimes people will say, when you say, "Oh, I'm going to the Balkans," they'll say, "Isn't there a war going on over there?" And I'm like, "No, there is no war going on." I don't think people really know that much. I will further add that Americans can be quite insular. It's a big country. It's over 5,000 miles. It's a huge country from coast to coast, and everybody speaks English. More people speak Spanish, but America is very insular. The population doesn't really look beyond its borders. The people like me who specialize and study the Balkans remain very engaged and aware of the developments in Macedonia.
Dear Tanya, if you were a painter, with what colors would you paint North Macedonia in this moment?
The colors.
Yeah, in which colors?
Well, I would paint red, and I see the flags. My friends have been taking me around and showing me North Macedonia, which I haven't seen before. This is the second time I've been to Macedonia, and it's very red, and it's very, in many ways, the people are very welcoming, and they're very, I think, they show hospitality in a really wonderful way.
Okay. In the end, what will be your appeal to the new government of the North Macedonia?
Well, it's interesting. You brought up Orban earlier, and the president had committed to securing a loan from Orban. Orban did the same thing with Milorad Dodik after he was sanctioned by the United States and the United Kingdom. Orban is not going to bring good results to the people of Macedonia. This is strictly political opportunism, and Macedonia is a NATO member, as is Orban, which is problematic as well, I might add. It's really troubling that the Hungarian government, which is a NATO member, is trafficking in more or less this nationalism that marginalizes people. I mean, they declared areas of study even. They pushed out Central European University in Hungary. So all I can say is I don't think cooperation between authoritarians like Orban is going to bring good to Macedonia. Macedonia should stay on track, embrace democracy, embrace rule of law, respect for differences, diversity, include the Albanian community going forward, and they should cooperate to join Europe with the basic values of rule of law, democracy, and inclusion.
Thank you very much. It's my pleasure to have you in interview.
Thank you again. Thank you.
Nderuar shikues, ishte Tanya, ajo e cila na foli për shumë çështje të rëndësishme të Republikës Maqedonisë së Veriut, çështje problematike të cilat lidhen ngushtë me ndikimet ruse në vendin tonë, por veçanërisht dua të theksoj se unë nuk duhet të isha ai i cili do të njihja më mirë shqiptarët në Amerikë se sa një grua e gjeneratës së tretë të shqiptarëve në Amerikë, siç është Tanya, e cila vjen këtu për të më folur mua më shumë edhe për shqiptarët, ashtu siç e dëgjuat ju, pasi ajo tha se është një problematikë e madhe heqja e gjuhës shqipe nga faqja zyrtare e presidentes tani më të shtetit të Republikës Maqedonisë së Veriut. Kemi një qeveri, siç tha ajo, e cila deri diku mund të thuhet se ka ndikime të shoqërisë ruse, mos të themi ruse, por që do duhet të shikohet mirë. Ajo i bëri thirrje qeverisë që të jetë më shumë pro-europiane, pasi që Maqedonia e Veriut është anëtare e NATO-s dhe nuk duhet në asnjë farë forme tjetër që ta lejojmë që të defokusojmë këtë rrugë europiane të shtetit tonë. Deri në intervistën e radhës nga unë Dodik, miru pafshim.